Okay, hi everyone. My name's Tom Springer. Welcome to Stuff I Never Learned from a School Book, right up there. I just had one of my moments. Don't mind me. Welcome to the show. It is Monday night, 7 p.m. Central, 8 Eastern. I gotta do this again. 6 Mountain, 5 Pacific, 2 Hawaiian, 11 ahead of us in Indonesia, 17 hours ahead of us in Australia, if you're where Jem and Kate are, and 15 hours ahead of us if you're where Jamie is right now. So welcome to the show. If you've never met me before, my name's Tom Springer. I am the host for Stuff I Never Learned from a School Book. We pretty much talk about anything and everything paranormal, cryptid, life changes, type through spirituality and everything else. Healing, guided healing, whatever else. And with that, I'm actually going to bring on my guest because she is fantastic. And I've read all about her, kind of. I don't want to say this the worst ways possible, but I'm going to use the word. I've kind of Facebook stalked her to find out all I could about her before I brought her on, because I have met her a couple of times. I will tell you a story about that when she comes on. But anyways, I want to go ahead and bring on Annie Graterra. So, hi, Annie.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me here, Tom.
So people will pop in and say hi, just like this. You've already met her. That's my wife.
Nicole, yes, I saw you. Nice to see you.
So I do want to tell the kind of funny story behind how I met you and my first perception of how I thought you took me. I met you at a Holistic Fest first. It wasn't Mystic Fest; it was the Holistic Fest first.
Oh, yep.
And you were helping people at that time. You were giving them guided help right there. And I was standing there talking to the person that was helping you, and I thought, and you were right in the middle of helping somebody, and I thought I was too loud because you turned and it looked like you looked right at me with a really mean look, like, shh, hush, I'm working here. And so I really quieted down and I apologized to the person that was helping you. And then the next time I talked to you, you're like, I didn't even know you were there. I was like, oh, okay. It wasn't me. I wasn't in trouble.
That's funny.
Because I swore I was in trouble.
At those things. No, I think I sensed that there was somebody that was having an engaged conversation, and that's where I turned around and thought, oh, I wonder what's going on over there. That's funny.
I didn't know that. From Texas.
Hi, Stuart.
Without AC. Stuart, I'm feeling you. We're just about to be losing ours too. For those who don't know, I'm in a brand new place, so that's why I have a brick wall behind me, not decorated at all. So, yeah.
No AC is not good. It's supposed to be super duper hot this week.
Goodness. Yeah, we're supposed to be about 102, I think, here.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, Annie is actually right here in Omaha with me, or in the Omaha area. So we're right here. And that's actually how I met her, was here at one of the Omaha festivals. And I'm very happy she decided to come up, to come onto my show. Because the more and more I read about you, the more I'm like, okay, I want to know more. So let's just bring it on. So,
good. Well, I sure appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah. Introduce yourself to the crowd, say hi to everyone, and let's just kind of get going.
Okay. So I'm Annie Graterra, and I actually used to go by a different name. My name is somewhat new too. I used to go by Anne, and my energy has changed so much recently. And so I changed my name to Graterra. Gra is love in Ireland, in Irish, and terra for the earth, because I love the earth. I am as much an earth healer as I am a people healer. I really enjoy what I do. So you had asked me to address, like how I got into what I do.
Yes.
That is depends on where you want to start. I've always known that I wanted to help people. And even in high school, I knew I wanted to help people relax, and because I needed to relax. And I always, I studied psychology in college, and I I got my master's in psychology after that. And so I was a traditional therapist for a while. I worked with kids in residential treatment. I loved doing that, but I always knew there was something more. I knew that the people around me didn't really know how to, oh, Stuart, good. Yeah, I love it too. I have some kind of special spiritual affinity to Ireland that I don't understand quite yet, but I've gotten some visuals and some understandings a little bit in meditation. So there's more for me to know about that. So when I was in residential treatment, being a regular therapist, I knew there was so much more that we could do to help these kids. Hi, Jamie. You're in Australia, 15 hours away. So the people around me, like my boss and my supervisors, didn't know how to help them, but I knew there was so much more that we could do, that all these things we were doing in regular therapy weren't really helping them. I was doing what I had been taught, but it just wasn't enough to get down to the real core of it. So I stopped working for a while to have my kids, and when I got back, I opened a yoga studio for a while, and I knew that yoga was just a part of what I did. So I moved on from that and learned energy healing. I'm certified in healing touch. And as I was working on someone, I thought, gosh, I want to do so much more than this. I want to know really how to get into the origin of what's causing people their dysfunction or their discomfort, and really heal that. Hi, Christy. Nice to see you. So that's when I decided to learn hypnosis on top of everything else, because through the process of hypnosis, we can go into the unconscious, which is what runs the show.
Right.
You know, like all those times that we say to ourselves, geez, why did I do that? I didn't mean to do that. Why am I keep doing that thing again and again and again? It's because you keep running up against the same thing, because the unconscious is so powerful. So when we get into that energy, we can really make a shift, because not only are you going into the darkness, and I say darkness not because it's evil, but simply because it's unknown. It's like the shadow. It's in the shadows because it's not something that we're looking at. We just simply don't see it.
Right.
So when we see those things and we know what they are, we have an opportunity to accept ourselves and love ourselves through that, and see these different parts of ourselves and these different experiences, and bring them into the light, into compassion, understanding, and the unlimited possibilities. So that's what I've been doing ever since I learned hypnosis. So I combine the hypnosis and the energy healing, and a couple other modalities to help people.
So Stuart's asking, who is hypnotized? You or the patient?
That's funny. That is quite a conversation, because we're really all hypnotized. It's like all the conditioning that we live under, all the things that we think are true that are not true, all of that's hypnosis. So when I and other people who are using hypnosis as a therapeutic modality, what we're doing is helping somebody to know what those things are, so they can become more true to themselves and less hypnotized. You see what I mean? So when we can peel away the layers of conditioning, and we recognize truth. I mean, I'm sure you have experienced this. When you hear a truth, it like you said, Tom, right before the show, we were talking about how you had gotten just like a year and a half ago, learned that about all of this paranormal activity, right, and your own psychic abilities. When you see it, you know it. When you hear a truth, you know it's true. And so that's what I help people with, is recognizing, okay, this is true. So let's not, now that you know that we're going to go in this direction instead, and we're going to open the door and see what's over here. So yeah, it's funny. We're all so hypnotized. That's why we're walking around almost like zombies.
Right.
There's so much more that we can be and feel and know, and so much more connection that we can have, but we just don't know it. You are only as free as you believe that you are.
Right. You only know what you know.
Right. Exactly. I say that a lot. You only know what you know. So the more you know, the farther you can go.
So our Facebook user, who I happen to know, is Joe over in Hawaii. He's the one I get the Hawaiian time for. So hi, Joe. He says hi, and he has said that he has been interested in quitting smoking through hypnotism. So.
Okay. So when someone comes to me and would like to quit smoking or lose weight, or some of those real basic things that are often known for hypnotism, I will work with people who want to do those things if they are interested in taking more of a deeper spiritual journey and knowing themselves better, because that's really what I do. There are lots of people who do, just the simple quit smoking and lose weight. And you've got kind of a script for that. And that's just not what I do. But I can tell you that I have helped people lose weight and quit smoking because of this work, if that's because sometimes when you look at, what is going on under the surface when you want to grab a cigarette. And like one of my clients recently, she wanted to quit smoking, but that wasn't why we got together. We got together because she wanted general help. And then she said, this smoking is really an issue. So as we talked more about it, we recognized, and this was through a hypnosis session. And I'll tell you a little bit more about my hypnosis soon, but because it's not as deep as some. It's not like stage hypnosis where you're like out cold and you don't know what you're doing. You're not unconscious. You're still conscious. You're still aware of what's going on in the room. You're still fully in control, but you're just in a different state of mind so that you have access to memories, emotions, and insights that you wouldn't have in normal conscious understanding. So anyway, she was in this state. And so we're kind of digging down, like what's going on underneath the surface. And it turned out that it was really about her mom and the relationship she had with her mom and some of the things that she had been conditioned to believe and conclusions that she came to herself that she wouldn't have come to conclusions of when she, as an adult, but as a child, this is what she had thought. So when we cleared that up, she quit.
Wow.
She said, yeah, I don't want that anymore. And she burned her pack of cigarettes, and it's been like 4 or 5 months and she hasn't smoked since then. So wow. It can happen. Right, Debbie?
Debbie. Yeah. And that was a question I was going to ask, because I've always heard, lose weight through hypnosis, stop smoking through hypnosis, stop biting your nails. That's me. Through hypnosis, stuff like that. But I've never heard a result. I've always heard the commercials. I've always heard the talks, but I've never heard the results if it actually works. So that's good that you kind of talked into that more.
Well, it can work. Even cool. Well, give me a call then. Facebook user, I think that's Joe from Hawaii. Is that him?
That's Joe. Yeah.
Yeah. Give me a call. We can talk about it.
Can you do this stuff online?
Yeah. I have some clients, there's a nice thing about being in person, there's the physical touch, because I also use healing touch, and there's, sometimes you just need a hug when you're in that deep space. But I've also had a handful of clients that, maybe 10 or so that I've done only on Zoom that I haven't even seen in person.
Right.
And they've had a lot of success.
So I'm interested to get your take on something. Hi, William. William's one of my regulars. He's actually someone I rely on a lot. He's a Native American shaman and has a lot of stuff with what I do. So
very cool.
That's what I talk to very much. And then Stuart saying that he needs to make the journey to Omaha. I've had a handful of people. I've had you. I've had Astara. I have Christy coming on later.
Yeah, awesome.
So he's like, I got to go see your people that are up there.
Yeah, I love Astara.
I am interested in getting your take on something. And this is something that my wife can actually attest to, because it's happened a couple of times. It turns out that I have a touch ability, and I don't know where it came from, and I don't know why I was given. I mean, I was given to it to use, of course, but why it was me and how it works. But if I give someone a hug, and like if they are sad, if they are tired, if they are anxious, whatever else, it's almost like I take it from them and I can release it from both of us. And then they just go about their merry way like nothing ever happened, like it never happened in the first place. So I don't know what your take is on that. So
what a beautiful gift. That's awesome. Well, did that happen about the same time that you got the other psychic abilities?
It did. I used to be on an investigation team with a bunch of friends of ours. And when we were on investigation, one of our girls who really opened up and let people talk through her and everything else would channel through her. By the time she was done, she's exhausted. And I'd go up and I'd give her a hug. And all of a sudden she has all this energy. She's like, oh my goodness. She was just like, you took away all my tiredness. And then Nikki had a situation to where she had a very sad event and she couldn't stop crying. And I grabbed a hold of her and I just kind of took in all of her despair and all of her sadness and everything else. And all of a sudden she couldn't cry. She goes, I don't know what you did to me, but I can't cry right now. I just can't. So I don't know what it is that allows me to take in people's anxieties, whatever is negative for them at the time. And I don't hold it at all. I can take it in. I tell people it's a lot like if you've ever watched Green Mile, the way that he takes in everything and then releases it. It's kind of the same thing for me. It's what it feels like. I can just take it in and then make sure that person is okay. And I can tell when they're good because the way their body feels to me. If I don't think they're done yet, I'll continue to hold them. They may not want to let go yet, but I know they're not done yet. So I'll just keep holding them. And then once they get to a spot where I can feel them, just their shoulders drop, their breathing changes, everything else, then I know they're good. I can let go of them. And then for me, it just dissipates. It just goes away. So
that's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Do you, when you come across this, do you intend to take that pain on and release it, or do you just hug without thinking about it?
Initially, it was just happening, but now if I give it the intent, like there were times when with Nikki, we hug all the time, but even if she was sad or anything else, and I didn't try to, then she would still have that anxiety or whatever it is. But once, because she goes, well, I've never had that. And he hugs me all the time. And then when it came to the point where I knew that she was devastated over losing somebody, I purposefully focused on that, gave her that hug, felt her drop, took it out of her. And she was like, I don't know what you just did. That was really cool. So, because she always joked with the other people, well, he's never done that to me. And then when I needed to, I did. So yeah.
Wow. So your intention increased the effect.
Yes, apparently.
Yeah, that is really cool. Well, I'm curious about whether you were, hi, Lori. I'm curious about whether before this all happened a year and a half ago, did you intentionally open yourself or ask for more or anything like that?
No, I've always been a big hugger. People have always told me I've given the greatest hug. I'm a big teddy bear, so they always tell me I give really good hugs, and it's always been. I mean, hugs have always been a thing for me, but I've never intentionally ever asked for anything, opened up to anything else. All my stuff happened simply by going on an investigation, and while I was on the investigation, I started seeing and hearing everybody else that wasn't alive. So it's not like I ever asked for it at all. It just appeared. And then it just kept coming and coming and coming and coming and coming. Like I said, it was like drinking from a fire hose. So
that's awesome. Well, I asked because our intention is very powerful. So if you had even asked for, or even just had a minute thought that maybe you don't even remember, maybe you did, maybe you didn't, but when you have set any kind of intention, the universe always says yes. So if you said, I wonder what that's like, or I wonder what that's about, or something like that, it could have been something that simple that opened you to it.
Right.
Or it could have been that it was just time. Like that's just what your soul asked for. And look at the stars would say, okay, on this day, Tom's going to wake up and have all these abilities, and he's going to be spending some time learning about all these things and growing in your abilities. So that's really super cool.
Thank you.
I had the same, something kind of similar. That's why I learned energy healing, because I would hug people. It was kind of like what you're describing. I hugged somebody and I was intending, I really want this person to feel better because she was hurting.
Right.
And when I let go, she's like kind of almost was like, whoa, what did you just do? I'm like, I have no idea. I didn't know anything about this at that time. I didn't even know energy healing was a thing.
Right.
And other kind of experiences kind of like that, where people would say, what did you just do? I'm like, I don't know. Or that their pain would go away if I set my hand on, on their knee or their arm or something. But that's really a thing. And so that's when I learned more about it. And that's what, kind of grew into, like I said earlier, first learned the energy healing and then learned something new and then learned something new. And it brought me to where I am. So, everybody can do it.
Right.
It's not like those of us who are using these abilities are special. It's just part of being human. And that's why it's so important to me to help people to be more of who they are, because there's so much more that we can be. And when we look down with this tunnel vision and identify with our current life circumstances, and we think that that's all there is, we miss so much when you look up and you see, and there's just so much more. And when we connect with that energy, it's just phenomenal and literally limitless.
Yeah. And, earlier you talked about having your ties to the earth. And I am a full believer of that myself. For instance, Nikki and I just moved, as I explained to people. Behind me, you see a brick wall, but that's just because I'm in the basement. This is my new office,
Cool.
and everything else. But out my window, where we moved to, I now have a beach and I have a lake, and it is completely dark here. So when you look up, you can actually see all the stars at night. There's no street lights. There's no nothing. So this is a very good place for me to be. Already, I can tell, even though I've only been here a couple of days, just by the energy that's around me from the earth. I'm not in town like I used to be, surrounded by all these other houses
Yeah.
and everything else. I mean, I still have homes around me, but it's a very quiet neighborhood. We're all on the lake. It's very calm here, and you can just feel the energy shift because of where we're at.
I can imagine. That sounds lovely. Yeah, it does feel so different to get out of okay. To get out of the city. I'm as far I'm as far west in Omaha and actually in Elkhorn.
Okay.
That's right, Debbie. I'm as far west in Elkhorn as you can get because I kind of wanted to be in the country, but I had kids growing up and I wanted them to have a neighborhood and to be close to their school. So we ended up here, but I've got a cornfield in the back, and I would love to be out without any people. You've got all the people energy, all the electricity, so much going on, and to really be able to hear and feel the earth is amazing. I have a really great backyard that I love. The outside is absolutely as important to me as inside of a house. The trees and the just to have trees around and other plants, just love it. It's so significant.
So I'm going to ask you, I kind of want you, if you don't mind, you can tell me no, you can say go away,
Okay.
and I'm fine with that. Can you please tell people what it is, like when I met you and you were at the Holistic Expo, what you were doing? Like you were sitting there one-on-one with somebody, and you were, and I was, like I said, I was loud, but you were.
I wish you were loud, by the way, at all. I didn't hear that.
Well, funny, because normally I'm a shy, quiet person in real life, but sometimes I get loud. But I was curious if you can explain to people what you're doing at that point, like how your mini sessions like that work.
Well, when I go to expos and also to the Next Millennium and do readings, we call them readings because most people are doing like a psychic reading or a psychic medium reading or something like that, or a card like tarot or something. But I do Psych K. It's the word psych, like psychology shortened, and the letter K. K is for kinesthetic. It is a process that.
She's a liar.
That's a lie. Oh, that's funny. Can be sometimes. Psych K is, hold on, I need to get a little drink.
Yep. While you're getting a drink, I'm going to throw this up there too.
Okay.
Debbie's saying, I feel the energy of guides through my feet and up into my calves every time I go out and ground myself.
Yeah. Isn't that so powerful, Debbie? Oh, I love grounding. I just sit on the ground and lay on the ground for naps. It's such a powerful experience.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're familiar with the word earthing, but there are movies about how the earth just lives in harmony with us. Just, it's part of us. So it just helps us to feel better, just like it helps the other plants. Okay. Were you going to say something about that?
Nope. You were going to go into the Psych K, and I was.
Okay. So Psych K is a process where we're changing a belief from one that holds us back to one that sets us free. So Bruce Lipton wrote a book called The Biology of Belief. He's a physician or maybe a researcher, a medical researcher that studied this. And in his book, he's got listed in the back ways that you can actually change beliefs. And there are lots of ways to do it. And Psych K is just one of them. But it's the one that he used to actually change his life. And it's what I have learned to do, because every single thing that we think and feel and do is based on what we believe to be true about ourselves and how the world works. So everything, even how much emotion we have. So everything is based on belief. Because if we believe we're safe to have our emotions, then we're safe to have our emotions. If we feel we are safe in general, or that we feel that we are all powerful, or whatever we believe we can do, now you believe that you have psychic abilities. You didn't 10 years ago or 2 years ago.
Right.
You believe it, you can do it.
Right.
So that's just one of the modalities that I use. The Psych K is you're basically balancing the left and right hemispheres of the brain. As you probably know, the left is the logical and analytical side, and the right is the more creative and spiritual and limitless side. And so when you bring those together and balance them, it's called a balance. With you choose a statement. Like how I usually start out is I ask people, what is the self-talk that you hear yourself saying often that holds you back? And when they come up with a statement, we come up with a belief that is underlying that. What is it that you believe that creates this kind of thinking that you have that limits you? And then we come up with a belief to substitute for that belief, what am I trying to say? An unlimiting belief to substitute for the limiting belief. So it could be as simple as I am safe. I mean, just to go with that theme, or it could be I trust in the universe to provide everything I need, or something like that, whatever it is. And it's just a simple body crossover technique. So there are two different ways of doing it, but you're using your hands and crossing over, and you cross over your ankles, and so because anytime that you're crossing over, you're actually like even just walking back and forth, you're crossing, you're helping to balance the sides of your brain.
Oh.
So yeah, it can be really powerful. It's especially powerful if you get the emotions really involved, but it sometimes will have just a slight effect. And sometimes it has sometimes it's amazing.
Right.
And it can be really life-changing, just changing one belief. And when you change it, it kind of infiltrates into all the little nooks and crannies of how that belief is affecting your behavior. So yeah, that's Psych K. I do that sometimes in my private practice if somebody asks for it,
Right.
But I kind of prefer to use hypnosis, because when you do hypnosis, I can really help you to explore more. Like I mentioned, the nooks and crannies, we can actually explore all the places like, okay, well, how does this feel? How does that feel? And what is this, what is this like for you? And is there anything you'd like to say to anybody? Like check in with forgiveness of others and forgiveness of self. Like, what resistance are you feeling in this space? And like really moving into all the different parts. So that's my favorite thing to do in the whole world.
Yeah.
I'm so uplifted by that process. So that's why I use that more. But the Psych K is also a really good way for people to get to know what I do and kind of hear the way that I talk to them and the way I do my work, and see if they want to do more.
And really in a 15-minute short version that you gave, you really can't do the hypnosis part very, very well successfully, especially in an expo where it's just deafening. And
that is true. I can't do, but I tell you what I have started to do kind of recently is instead of doing like I used to do just the talking sessions for an hour or just the big fat hypnosis session, because I lay people on the table and we dim the lights and like big whole thing. But I've learned that I can do just a really quick, whenever the emotion comes up or they're really feeling something, I can say, okay, close your eyes. And where do you feel that in your body? Okay, go deeper into that. What else do you notice? And kind of bring it out, and you can go deep in and come right back up. And I always, when I help people to get into those darker places, always connect them with the light and a bigger understanding when they're ready. Because you want to make sure that person really feels heard and understood before you, like you wouldn't want to force them to forgive,
right,
until they really feel like they are ready for that. Right. So in that way, I don't push them until they're ready for that, but we're always connecting with the light. So I have learned that we can do that really quickly. So I have started to integrate that into most of my sessions, just a quick little thing. And I do workshops too, in groups that I call heart healing workshops. I also do heart healing retreats where we do like 4 healing circles and a private sessions, and then all the conversation in the middle, and a burning ceremony. And in these group sessions too, I do heart healing. So I do a little bit of that. Like I always include guided meditations in everything that I do, because it's one thing to understand intellectually what we're talking about, but it's a totally different thing to really experience it. Like I mentioned the unconscious earlier, when you really get into the feeling body and into the heart, and you kind of sink into that, into the wisdom of your body and of your emotions, it's a fully different experience.
Right.
And that's where you're really making a true shift that's lasting.
I know that you like you do the retreats, you do the classes and everything else. Do you have classes that you can actually do online?
I'm creating those right now. I don't have them yet, but I have the outline for all of them. Yeah, I can pull that up real quick. I've got there's one on becoming conscious, on thoughts, on the chakras. Foundations of healing is going to be my first one. Relationship dynamics, the role of relationships, the shadow. One on parenting, because I've got a few kids that have been really big teachers for me. And have learned how to have really strong, healthy relationships with them. So those are just some of the topics that I'll be creating online courses on. And like I said, I'll start with the foundations of healing. I've got the intro for that, and that's in the works. I should have at least probably 2 or 3 done by the end of the year, I'm hoping.
Oh, great. I did want to talk about this really quick. I've thrown it up a couple of times, but for those, and it'll come up again, and I've also put it over in the comments, so people who haven't seen it here, they can look through the comments. And that's also for the people who watch this on recording. They'll also see the comments too, so they can see it in the comments. But if you want to go find out stuff that Annie's doing, she has a Facebook page right here, facebook.com, Annie Graterra Soul Healing, and she has her own page, AnnieGraterra.com. I know both of these work because I went out there and checked them out myself. And so all the links work and everything's good. So you can go to either one of those and you'll be able to find out what she's doing. She does list, if you're in the area, she does list out when she's doing her group sessions and anything like that. So if you're around Omaha or you're coming to Omaha or you want to travel here, everything's listed out there too.
Yeah. So, I'm doing holding a retreat in September 9th through the 11th, Friday through Sunday, holding a heart healing retreat here in Elkhorn. And I'll be doing another one for maybe 4 or 5 days in Mexico in October. I don't have dates for that yet, but so the heart healing retreats are pretty cool because we're doing, we do the healing circles, like I mentioned. It can be a really powerful experience. Yeah. Depending on, how far you go depends on kind of how open you are. Like you can imagine, Tom, for yourself, your experience now doing a deep heart experience might be a whole lot different than it was 5 years ago.
Right.
But either way, you're opening, and that's really cool. So it's really helping everybody to level up, and how open you are is how far you can go in your leveling up. Because if you're really open to all new things, you can go, like the woman that I mentioned that burned her cigarettes. She is somebody I had been working with for roughly a year or so. And then she attended the retreat, and it was there that she had this big fat breakthrough and said, I'm done. And we did a ceremony at the end of the retreat, and she put the cigarettes in the fire. Right. It was cool. Because we all build the relationships. Hi, Missy. We all, we're building relationships and supporting each other through all these things. So it was really cool for everybody to be able to support her in that.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So Mr. Nighthawk says, Tom, best not use your left brain or right side. LOL is like saying left wing and right wing when they both are on the same bird.
Oh, that's funny. I saw a thing like that about they're on the same bird.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, well, what's interesting about that is that, I'm not sure if this is what Mr. Nighthawk was referring to, but I had seen a meme about the right wing and the left wing, going against one another, but they're on the same bird. We all have it. And that's what really, how we really bring light to all of this, no matter what kind of behavior pattern you're experiencing or emotional pattern you're experiencing. We all have it. We all have the same kinds of things. We all have the same kinds of needs to be loved, and it all manifests a little bit different in our lives, but we all have darkness and we all have light. And so when we can recognize, there's no, why bother judging where somebody else is in their process?
Right.
You can't judge it.
So you've mentioned that it's not like a deep hypnosis. I'm well aware of my surroundings, everything else, and stuff like that. Are you, when you do that hypnosis? Sorry, I'm trying to think of the best way to say this. Um, are you able to? Will they recognize stuff from either past lives or from other times as well? I mean, or from other dimensions or from other whatever? Will they also bring stuff like that up under?
Oh yeah, all of that.
So it's just, so it's not just the human form we're in now, but it's past stuff and everything else that they're bringing to light.
Absolutely. And yeah, past lives and insights about like before they came to this life, like contracts they have with other people. And all of that can be so enlightening for this lifetime to understand, oh, that's why I did that. Or when you're able to really process through something that was emotional that you're still holding on to, because as souls, we have all these things. I mean, the cells of your body are actually holding on to anything that you've experienced that you haven't processed through or been or released in some way. You know, like when you mentioned your wife, Nikki, releasing that sadness through you, it still was a release. And now it's, you know, it's processed through. Some of it she cried, some of it she processed or she released through you just energetically. And there might have been a little, you know, that all those things, they come in waves. So there might have been a little more, you know, here or there. But anyway, once it's processed, it's moved on, it's released, it's transformed into light. So that's it. And then what's left is just clarity and peace. So yeah, absolutely. And sometimes, you know, the idea behind the hypnosis is whenever whatever pattern we're looking at, my job is to help you get to the origin of the issue, wherever you first decided to feel that way. Because that once you change that, it's like a ripple effect or like a domino effect, changing everything upward. So you want to get to the bottom of it. So sometimes when I'm asking somebody, okay, you know, is there something before that? They'll go directly into a past life. And the way you know that is you say, you know, whatever it is they're experiencing, you say, okay, did you feel it here? Did you feel it here? And you go back, back, back. And sometimes they came in with it. So you go, okay, where else did you feel it? You know, what else did you experience? And you want to find where they felt happy or without that particular dynamic. And when you get to that point, then you know you've got to the bottom of it.
Right.
And so I used to tell people, oh, I don't do past life regressions unless there's, you know, I don't do it for entertainment purposes. And some people, you know, don't want to really take it seriously. And that's just not what I do. But if you want to do it as part of your healing process, absolutely. But I said, no, I don't really do that unless it were to come up. And these two women on separate instances said, yeah, I really want to do past life regression. I was like, well, okay, let's just kind of go in and see if that comes up. And both times it was like they just knew it. They just knew that's what they needed to do. Because I said, okay, go back to, and my intention was just to take them back into this lifetime, but they were like, oh, I'm a whatever. I mean, sometimes they're like a knight at a castle or something crazy like that, or they're on the battlefield or in a war in a town or whatever situation it was. But
right.
Clearly I'm like, okay, well, here we are.
Right.
Now. So yeah, wherever you need to go is where I'll take you. And sometimes it's, sometimes they don't really know where they are. They're like, this is just there's just space. I'm kind of floating in this void. And that's a very healing experience. And they feel it and it affects their souls. And I meant to say their cells. It affects the cells of your body. It's like bringing this healing energy. And anytime you're in that spaciousness of, you know, the limitlessness and
right.
all there is, it's healing you, and you're experiencing that. It stays with you. And so these people have a different feeling once they leave.
William has a question for you.
Yeah.
He is asking, have you ever thought of helping alien abductees with remembering events?
That's funny. I did do that. I did do that. Yeah, I it's not really my specialty. I just happened to come across one woman who did that. And she, the woman who first started helping her had a whole lot of them. So I think that we kind of draw to us what we need. And that hasn't been my biggest thing. But it's just like any other experience, I think. I mean, for her, it was the same kind of thing. What you're doing is you're just kind of like exploring the territory. How do you feel? What do you see? And the key is to get into, what is the emotion? When you get into the emotion of it and follow that back, that's when you're getting to the piece that's really healing. Sometimes there's just simply something for you to know that doesn't really have a lot of emotion, but knowing that fact might help you immensely in this life. But it's the same kind of experience from my standpoint.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's something. It's
a past
something that's,
experience.
something that's tied into you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a past experience that you've experienced, and you can gain whatever you need. I've worked with people who are like, were here when Atlantis fell, and like they're Lemuria and Atlantis were, Lemurians were here when Atlantis was here, and they were trying to help the world, but they all kind of fell at that time. And so some of those people are coming back at this time to help us now. There's quite a few of them, and I've helped some of them, and it's just absolutely fascinating. It's the same kind of thing as helping somebody with their trauma in this lifetime. But what's really cool about them is they tend to, at least one of them was, the channeling was, I didn't record that session. That was in my earlier days before I had started recording. And I said, I will not do any more sessions without recording, because it's just like, it's so amazing. Like, I don't know any human that could speak like that. It's just out of this world.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Another question says, what do you think of remote viewing? Just curious.
Oh, I think it's possible. Absolutely. I have not done that, but I think it's just like, I think we can also beam ourselves, so to speak, from one place to another just by thinking without having to walk over there. I think I can move myself over there or bend forks. I think we can do stuff like that.
So I will let you know that I am learning to do remote viewing.
Are you?
I'm on a very rudimentary basic level right now, but I can see places. No, I can see places very easily right now. I just don't know where I am. So I haven't given myself an intent to be at a certain location yet, but I will just show up in locations, and I know I'm remote viewing because I can describe some of the stuff in the area and everything else. And it's totally different than the other part you talked about, because I can also astral travel. That's something else I've been able to do, which is when you're talking about going from one place to another rapidly or like instantaneously. So yes, so the remote viewing is something that I'm learning, baby steps, but it is happening.
So when you do it, do you intend to remote view at that moment, or do you just find yourself all of a sudden somewhere else?
Right now it just happens, and it happens right when I'm in a stage right before I fall asleep. It's like I'll lay down and I can close my eyes, and it's really weird how it works, because for me it's almost like I don't do it physically, but in my mind I actually feel like I look up, so I'm almost like looking into my third eye, and that puts me in the location. And I can be like, okay, I'm in a forest, I'm around here, I can see all the trees, I can see this, and I can describe it to that point, but I can't pull out far enough to a location to say I am at this forest, or I can't get a larger picture. I can only see small pictures right now.
It might be that if you asked yourself, you might just have a sense of it.
Right.
Like you might just know it without having to see it.
And it might, and that's what I'm wondering. Yeah, I mean, I'm when I'm there, I almost have a feeling like either I've been here before or I'm going to go there at another point. But it always seems to be something that's very familiar to me when I'm there. But that's my remote viewing. And someone else I talked with beforehand was talking about remote viewing, was kind of giving me pointers on how to do it. But they said, if I'm going to do it before I go to, like, cause they said that's your best window is when I'm right before I fall asleep like that. She said to focus on what it is I'm trying to see. Like put in a request. I'm trying to look at this.
Yeah, yes. Set an intention.
And yes, Stuart, you are correct. I don't get the big picture. Nope. So
that's funny. But though, Tom, when I'm doing hypnosis with somebody and they have an experience, okay, bye, Debbie. Thank you. when I'm doing hypnosis with people and they have an experience of being in a different place, I simply say, trust your sense, trust your body's wisdom to tell you where you are.
Yeah.
I don't know if it would be the same, but I'm guessing that it's really similar. If you ask the question, you might just get the answer.
Yeah. And it is interesting. And I think I had this talk with William before, because I know I had it with someone, but I'm not sure if I had it with William or someone else up in Canada or something else. But I have talked about when I was younger, and still today, but I've known about it since I was younger. What I feel when I dream, not remote view, not doing astral travel, but just when I dream, I'm always faster on all fours, like I'm an animal, than I am on my own two legs. I always run on all fours. I never run on two legs.
Fascinating. I wonder if you have a special connection with animals that might be stronger than some.
Yeah, I don't know. I just know that that's always been the case.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been able to fly, and I've always been faster on four legs than I am on two.
Wow, fascinating. That is so cool. Good for you.
Thank you.
Huh, you got a lot of skills coming up. Yeah. Another one. Sometimes easier to navigate. Oh.
So yeah.
Good for you. Yeah, there's a lot of exactly. Once you learn how to navigate space and time, that's amazing. I haven't done that in my own personal life, except for just doing my own healing with myself. But I think it's pretty easy for us, as I understand, just like William just said, that we can simply move to all different times.
Right.
Anytime. Another big spiritual window is in the morning, like right before the sun comes up, is another time when spirit is like the veil between the worlds is thin.
Okay.
And so it's another time. I'm usually sleeping at that hour, but when I am up, I try to do a little meditation.
I'm normally up, but unfortunately it's getting ready for work. So
I see.
Yeah, I'm up at about 5:30 to go to work. So I wake up, and a lot of times I'm awake and I'm just laying there waiting for my alarm to go off, and I've been up for a while. Unfortunately.
Oh, I see.
My mind's racing through everything that's about to happen for the day.
So. Yeah. It is a really good time to set intention for how you want your day to go.
True. Yeah.
To really
focus on that.
Because it affects in like nighttime, like you said, like that important time right before you go to sleep, and then right when you wake up before your day starts. It's a great time to set some intention to affect the rest of your day.
Do you use anything during your hypnosis? Do you use anything like music or drums or sound, like sounding bowls or anything like that? Do you use any of that stuff when you're doing it?
Yeah, I always have music on, and the music that I choose is isochronic tones. That's helps your brain to entrain into the brain waves that are, in that really deeply relaxed state of deep meditation. And I also I have a native hide drum that I sometimes will use, just kind of intuitively. It feels like that's a good thing to use. It's made by Native Americans. And I also have, I don't see where it is right now. Oh, here. I have this that I use sometimes.
Right.
Yeah. Just intuitively, if it feels like that person could use that, because the sound vibration is so powerful. Right. And sometimes when they're done with the session and it was a really deep session, I'll sometimes just let them lay there and sometimes use sound, or sometimes just let them integrate with no further stimulation and just let them quietly integrate, kind of like Shavasana is after a yoga class, to just let your body soak it in and let it integrate. Yeah. Yeah. I love the sound too.
William is saying that 3:33 a.m. is his time to spirit walk.
Oh, good for you, William.
That's too early.
Yeah, that's pretty early. That's far before the sun comes up. Why do you choose 3:33? I know there's a repeating number, but I'm interested to know what more that he knows about 3:33.
And it says the 369 frequency is soothing.
Nice.
I listen to meditation music when I go to sleep, and that's something I just recently started doing not too long ago. But I noticed that I have to kind of change it up sometimes. A lot of times it's very, to me, it's very monotone. There's not a lot of adjustment to the sounds at all,
Mm,
and my mind seems to not like that. My mind seems to like it needs, like, if it's just like the frequency levels and everything else going, it needs like a piano, or it needs something to help break it up. It can't just be that same tone
interesting.
that the frequency kind of flows in.
Interesting.
I can sleep to it, but I've noticed recently I've had to change to where I have to have some other kind of instrument introduced into it, because I started getting irritated with it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. You want to have a little something more going on.
yeah,
Interesting. Yeah, it would be really fascinating to understand how what's happening like at the energetic level. If you could see your own colors and your own light moving and shifting, like maybe there's something about your brain and your frequency that needs that.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
interesting.
We talked about that earlier, though, that it seems when I close my eyes, I see a red, um, almost like a red electrified fence, like the crossed fences all over the place.
Yeah.
Mine is a red fence with a gray background. It's almost, that's my energy I see. That's the energy
Oh,
field or energy force I see, is always a red with the gray.
oh, that's super cool.
Yeah, when I it seems like I don't really see, I see pictures and all my other stuff of where I'm at when I remote view at night, but in the morning, like say if I woke up at 4 and I wanted to go back to sleep and I close my eyes and I try to look into my third eye to help me go back to remote view right
Mm,
before I go to sleep, I don't. I see colors.
mm,
And it's very interesting because they're always like the whites and the golds and like the blues and all the really bright. To me, it's almost like the angelic colors that
mm.
I seem to see in the morning. But I don't see them at night. I only see them in the morning, and I cannot remote view in the morning. I can only remote view at night so far. So
Interesting. So when you're seeing the colors, how do you feel?
um, I'm kind of, I don't really know. I mean, I'm very appreciative that they're there, and I try to focus on them as much as I possibly can without forcing them. I want them to stay
Uh-huh.
because they're very cool to me,
Hmm.
and the fact that I can see them move, and it almost seems like it gives me a very calming effect, and
Hmm.
it lets me go back to sleep.
Hmm.
And that's what I need to do because I don't sleep much.
That's what
Uh,
I was wondering
yeah,
if
I don't.
if the colors were there to help you sleep. Because sometimes when I help people, like I one of the part of the process of the hypnosis that I do is always includes connecting with the light or their safe place, so to speak, whatever that looks like. Sometimes it's an actual place, but sometimes it's just colors, and it helps them to feel so safe and calm. So I was thinking the same thing. Maybe it's just what you needed in that moment, and the
Yeah,
colors are there to heal and soothe you.
my colors are always a very bright. Like I said, they're very bright. They're golds, they're whites, they're blues.
Mm.
Um, but it's almost, and they flow almost like when way back when we used to have the cool little things like in the frames that were the sand things that you can turn and they kind of form all these different shapes. That's kind of what the colors are doing to me
Yeah.
in my mind's eye when I'm doing that. So
Yeah. Well, I don't see colors, but I understand from the people that have told me that do see colors, that's how they are. They're not like just one.
nope,
They're not just one color, and it's not static. It's always changing.
it's
We're
always
always,
moving. Yep, it's
always
always
changing.
flowing.
One of the most important aspects of being. Oh, okay.
Nikki's got a question. She
Nikki,
says meditation is very difficult for me because my mind is so active. Do you have any advice for this?
yeah, me too, Nikki. No, that's interesting, because people think that people who are really advanced spiritually are really good at meditation. That's just not necessarily true. It's just like anybody else that where you sometimes it's really good, sometimes it's more difficult. For me, with my active mind, it helps me to to focus on something. And so I tend to focus on, it kind of depends on the time, but I like to focus on how my heart feels. That's one of the most soothing things that I can do. Just really notice in the heart, and the more that you practice getting in the heart and practice noticing what those physical sensations are, the more that you can notice. But if you simply set your intention to notice, just sit with it and just kind of focus on, okay, is there anything over here or over here? I'm using my hands more than you can see, but there is there, just notice in any energetic or physical sensations that there is to notice, and just be with it and just let it be there. And even if it's an emotion, just let it be there, let it express, and just notice and just keep that up. And I did that quite a few times. A couple years ago, that was when I was really doing a good job meditating. And I frankly haven't been for this whole past year or so, probably since quarantine. I've kind of gotten off, and I haven't gotten back to a really regular meditation. I wish I had, because I felt so much better when I was doing it. Just more grounded and so much ease, Anyway, when I did that, I got to where meditation, like 20 minutes wasn't enough. 30 minutes was barely enough. It felt so good and nourishing to me. I didn't want to stop.
Right.
And it felt like a warm bath, like just like so comforting and soothing, just to feel my heart. And I should say, sometimes, like I mentioned, let the emotion be there. But like when I first started doing heart healing workshops, I realized that some people have a lot of anger. And sometimes when you get into your heart is going to show you, it's like your soul is showing you what it is that you need to know and feel and be in that moment in order to move further along in your spiritual journey. And sometimes it's anger or sometimes it's pain of some kind. And so some people can get real scared by that. So I should qualify my statements. And I do try to let everybody know whenever I do a workshop, or even I do meditations every Wednesday, I let people know who are new that can happen. And that's okay, because that's just what we need to feel. And so the whole journey is about accepting whatever comes up. So if that's an emotion, let it be there. And then once you get past that, then once you allow yourself to process through that, is what I mean. And that's transformed into light, then you get to feel the more loving light qualities of the heart eventually. But sometimes that could take a while. I know somebody who meditated on the heart for months, I think it was, and she cried every single day for a long time. She needed it.
Right.
The other thing I do in meditation is really relax, like kind of like a body, progressive body relaxation, like just notice, okay, where am I holding tension, and still sit, with the back straight, so that you are, you can tell that if you try it, you can feel that the breath is more easily able to flow with your back straight. And then there's a little bit of a chin tuck, like just slightly. You can kind of notice as you move your chin up and down, where the breath can flow most easily. And in that space is where the energy can move up most easily too, and rise, like good Kundalini energy and anything that needs to be released. So anyway, holding that position there, just notice, like using whatever muscles need to hold you up, and letting yourself relax as much as you can. And sitting upright kind of helps you stay awake when meditating too. Right.
Yes.
But if you just really like tune in, that's just one of the things that helps me the most, is to tune into everything that needs to be relaxed. Because if I'm focusing on my heart or on my body, it helps me to have something to notice. It helps my mind have a little something to do, just to notice and to go deeper, and just like notice even deeper, like seek deeper issues. Like what more is there to notice? Like once I relax, how does that feel when I relax? Like just notice. And to me, that takes me into a state. And then there's a number 3 thing that I could mention is the Akashic records. Have you talked about those on here, Tom?
I have not. It's come up once or twice, but there's never been an actual discussion about them.
Okay. Well, we can read our own Akashic records, or we can go to somebody who's trained to read Akashic records. But the Akashic records are basically kind of like a compilation of everything we've ever thought or felt, or our whole soul, like over lifetimes, over in between lifetimes, over everything. The Akashic records are a collection of all of that. It's a very spiritual, very sacred collection. And so usually there's a prayer that is said to connect with that energy, and you open the records and then you close the records. And so I will do that and connect with the energy of the records in order to gain answers. Sometimes I have a question. Sometimes it's just connecting with the energy and feeling it. And that gives my mind a little something to do too. And also you can use guided meditation sometimes too. Those are some of the things that I do to help my active mind stay.
She does guided meditation sometimes, but if we're together and like say if we are going to go to sleep, I can't do guided meditations at all, because once I start getting into a state and that person starts to talk again, it instantly breaks me from where I'm at, and I'm instantly awake.
Yeah.
So I can't do guide. I've tried. It's just I just can't do it. But one thing that seems to work for me, and it's harder than it seems, and I don't really meditate well, but to try to get my mind to relax, is I actually just focus on my inhale and my exhale, and that's all I focus on. And the reason why is because if I'm focusing on it, my mind doesn't have a space for me to think about other things. If I start to think about other things, I refocus on my inhale and exhale, and then I realize I can't focus on two things at once. My mind doesn't let me. It focuses on that, so it kind of pushes everything else out.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, there are limitless ways of doing it. There are infinite ways of different things to focus on. So,
right.
Yeah, that's great that works for you.
I kind of want to run this. Stuart does talk about that's his problem too, but with a Reiki healer, he's able to get there. And yes, this happened. Nikki just completed her first and second degree classes for Reiki.
Oh, yay. That's really cool. Good for you, Nikki.
So, yeah. Hey, Bobby, what's going on, brother?
Hi, Bobby.
Bobby pops in all the time and says hi. He's really, really good ones that always pops in. So I appreciate him a lot for popping in and saying hi to us. But yeah, you did it. Nikki was going to say, please talk about the Akashic records. Yeah, no one has really touched on those. We've always had the conversation, like someone said, I went in and I was able to change my own Akashic records on something so I can alter it. And they've kind of just touched on it like that, but they've never explained what the Akashic records are or what they're used for or anything like that. They just kind of...
Well, some people say that they're actually like files, like you can think of them like a library, and they're actually like files or books for each person. You pull out the book and you look at it. So sometimes I use that as a visual just to give my mind something to focus on. Mm-hmm. But in my experience, it's just simply all that, like, I want to say all that is. Like, I have felt so much love from the Akashic records. I can't even tell you. It was like I had never felt that before, because I had done a reading with somebody that was like, I went to somebody who was a professional reader, and the Akashic records through her said that it was important for me simply to use them on my own for now and not be a reader. And so I was doing that quite a bit in my meditations. I would automatically just connect with the Akasha. The Akasha is what it's called, like the noun itself. But I would do that, and they said, just be in the energy. You don't even have to have a question. Just be in the energy. So I would just connect and feel it. And I could tell, like in this prayer that I learned, there's a book that I have actually that's called How to Connect to the Akashic Records or something like that. But there are multiple different ways of doing it, but that's just the one that I came across. So that's what I use. And there's a prayer that I use to connect. And when I do, the end of the prayer says, and the records are now open. But I can feel it as soon as I say the prayer.
Right.
I'm like, oh, like it's just like sinking in, like, thank you. I just feel so much love. And so there have been times when I had, there's a time when I had a lot of fear going on, and I need to show up somewhere the next day. I was like, okay, I'm like doubting myself and I'm second guessing. Help me feel that love. I tell you what, I did, and the fear was gone. And I felt the message, just go be you, just go do your thing. Like, okay, right. I'll just do my thing. Got it. I can do that. I can do my thing. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. And there was a time when I asked a specific question, and I received a clear answer in visual form and insight form. And so that can happen too. It's just, it's just whatever you need in that moment.
Right.
But the more that you practice doing it, the deeper you can go.
That's
So,
great.
yeah. Does that answer your question, Nikki? Is there anything else specifically that you wanted to know? I might not have your answer because I didn't know how, I don't know everything. But Tom, you mentioned someone went in and changed their record. I'm not sure how you do that.
I don't know either, but they said they went in and there was something in the record that needed to be changed, so they were able to go in and change like a past record or something like that.
Interesting. I guess from my experience, how I would do that if it was me is you can change a contract. Like you could, I mean, this is just my perspective. And from what
that might have been what that might have been what it was. It might have been they were adjusting their contract or changing their contract.
There's so many different things that you can do, but you can just say, I am done with that. I am not doing that anymore. I'm never doing that again. And bam, it's just an intentional decision of what you still want to do and what you don't want to do.
Right. Yeah.
But you have to follow through with that with action, of course.
Right.
Right. Otherwise, did you really mean it?
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Do you know, and this is just a personal me to you question, and well, people that live in this area too. Do we have anything coming up that you're going to be a part of? Like
yes. Well, my retreat's coming up in September,
right.
9th, and Mystic Fest is October 1st and 2nd.
Okay.
I can't think of anything else. But do you know about Omaha Spiritual Happenings?
I do not.
Okay. Well, that's something that you can know and you can share with people. Omaha Spiritual Happenings is a Facebook page that has listed all the different things that are going on that people, if they let, I think it's Dana still is doing that. Dana Camp, who I know you know, right?
Yes. In fact, she was on. In fact, Nikki just saw her today.
Oh, cool. That's cool. Yeah. Dana still hosts that site or that Facebook page. And so whenever I do an event, I always let her know so she can put it onto Omaha Spiritual Happenings.
Okay. And here's the answer from Nikki. She says, I'm just intrigued about Akashic records of past lives. I've been told I've lived about 2,600 years on Earth. I find it all interesting. Want to learn more about it, about all of it and how it is affecting my current life.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. If you want, I could do, I don't know how much time we have, but I just want to offer, I can do like a little 10-minute guided meditation into a past life.
Sure. Let me just get this really quick to Bobby before we do this. Yeah. No, Bobby, Nikki did not kick me out of the house. This is actually in the basement of our new house that we moved to. And this is actually the wall that connects us because I moved into a townhome that connects to another home. So this is actually the wall that connects it. But yes, this is actually my new office. And that wall that you see back there that makes it look like I'm in a garage or a cell or whatever else, once I decorate it, will be decorated full of most likely all my Superman stuff. So there you go.
That's great.
But even Nikki's like, yes, that would be fantastic. So,
cool.
So everyone hold on. Here we go.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So just get yourselves comfortable and allow your eyes to soften closed. If you're comfortable doing that, take a nice deep breath. Feel the sensation of the air on your face, furniture beneath you, your feet on the ground or wherever they are. Tuning in to the sensations in your body, feeling your breath, moving in, moving out, softening through your face, softening through your neck, feeling your shoulders, softening down through your arms, to your hands, the tips of your fingers, softening through your chest, reminding yourself that you are safe and secure in this place where you are in this moment. And as the light being that you are at the same time you are in this human body. Softening, relaxing through every organ, every tissue, every cell, the space between the cells. feeling more relaxed with each exhale, deeper and deeper into relaxation. Softening through your pelvis, softening through your legs, noticing the sensation of comfort, of the relaxation, feeling how good it feels to be so relaxed. Letting that feeling move down into your knees, your legs, your heels, the tops of your feet, and the bottoms of your feet, to the tips of your toes. Noticing how good it feels to be relaxed. Letting yourself sink deeper and deeper into relaxation with each breath. And letting yourself drift back, deeper and deeper into you, into the wisdom of your body, letting it take you back into your past, to a time you lived before this life. Just noticing whatever comes up, trusting your first impression. Noticing how it feels. Noticing whatever it is you see around you. If you see something around you. Perhaps it's a sense. Just trusting your first impression. What do you notice? What do you sense or what do you see that you are wearing? Do you see or sense any clothing that might give you clues? As you look down at your feet, what do you notice? Trusting your very first impression. Letting it be what it is. Are you alone here? Are there others? What do you notice as you gaze around yourself to the left and to the right, or sense what might be around you? Whatever you're experiencing, trust it. Trust your body's wisdom to take you there and show you something for you to know. What are you doing? Is there some activity that you're engaged in? Or you were engaged in? Just noticing and allowing it to be. Noticing how you feel. Noticing what gifts you might have in this life, in this part of you that you can bring back with you. What gifts, what skills do you feel? Feel them completely. See yourself doing it, or feeling or thinking, whatever the gift is. Feel its expression. Make it real for yourself. Intending to bring that gift back with you. Just let yourself explore. Wherever you are, whatever is coming up most strongly for you, whether it's your gift or those around you, this space. something you need to know. Opening yourself to know more. Traveling through time. Noticing what else is here for you. Whatever is coming up, letting yourself go deeper into it. Feeling it and being with it. Going a little deeper, a little further. Letting yourself have conversations if there are other people that you'd like to have conversations with, not holding back. Envision it, feel it. Connecting with yourself. Showing yourself gratitude and love. Compassion. Forgiveness if that's necessary. And intending to bring with you this part of yourself as you bring your awareness back into the present moment. Taking a deep breath, wiggling your fingers and toes. And when you feel ready, gently blink your eyes open. How was that for you, Tom?
I unfortunately am guarded.
Mm-hmm.
I have a hard time going too far.
Mm-hmm.
For me, unfortunately, I'm very guarded. I very much attempted to just let myself go and relax, but I know myself, and I'm just way too guarded to allow myself to do that. I know others in the audience have probably went through the whole thing with you.
Mm-hmm.
I got to one point, and I was just like, nope, I know myself. I'm not. My body will not let me do this. At least not in this environment. So
I see. Okay, well, good to know. I was wondering if Nikki had any experience, but we'll see if she has. She might just be tuned out.
Missy's saying that she's that was very, very relaxing.
Good. See, thanks for sharing that. Yeah.
Yeah, I can. It's weird because I was there she goes. She goes, I got one glimpse of a girl in an old dress.
Nice, Nikki. Good. Well, I'd love to know more. I don't know if I have time to type, but that would be cool. That's really cool.
Like I said, for me, I know I wasn't at that state, but I could still, at least I was able to envision. I don't know if it was what you were asking for, but I can actually see another person of who I believed I was.
Oh, cool.
Which was and it does not surprise me that this works out the way it was, but it was very detailed. I was definitely a Norse Celtic type warrior. And I actually did have, like, on my right arm, on this forearm right here, where I have my cross and everything else, that was not there. But what I did have was a 5-point star that was tattooed into my arm.
Wow.
Which is very interesting.
So you just said you were closed down and didn't have any experience, and then you say this?
So that's just, but I don't know. I mean, I listened to your words. I paid attention very well to your words, but I knew I don't know if this is just what I was bringing forth myself, just because that's what I wanted to see, or what it was. I mean, but I wasn't to the stage of relax. I mean, my foot and my hands and my fingers, they were moving the whole time. I move all the time. I was very aware of what I was doing when I was under, and I can hear you. And about every third breath, I was like, I am way too guarded for this. I am way too guarded for this. So it was just like, that's what was coming through to me, was like, nope. But Nikki Desware shared that she also feeding chickens and then a squirrel. Oh, and then she squirreled.
That's cool.
And Missy said that she is gathering with food and fellowship, had a long dress and a bonnet on.
Oh, very cool. That's neat.
And Nikki said that was like her.
Yeah, so, that's what I was thinking too.
And then Stuart says he was relaxed and thought he had moccasins on, but that may be a wish more than a vision.
Okay, well, I'll respond to that after you finish what you were saying, Tom.
Oh, but no, that was just really how, I mean, it was, I almost, like I said, I'm not quite sure. I know that I have a very strong Norse and Native American background in me. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if that was just what I was seeing, because you were asking me to see something that, so my mind just went to that. Mm-hmm. But yes, that's what I had. But to me, it wasn't, for the whole time I felt very, anxious is the wrong word. I was very aware, and I was very conscious, and I was very almost tense, because I was guarded, is what it felt like to me.
Yeah.
So, but I was still able to see who that person was, in that state. So
when I did my very first past life regression many years ago, when I first started my awakening, it was just in a group, and the lady said, "Look at your feet." And I was like, I saw wooden shoes, mm-hmm. like wooden shoes, little paintings on them, like flowers or something. And I dismissed it. I'm like, well, that's weird. I just thought that up. I made it up because she asked the question. I just decided I would say that.
Right.
But then years later, when I did more past life regressions as part of my healing, that was for real. Yeah.
Well, then people did not like me in the past, because I was a very vicious warrior.
Well, are you sure? Do you sense that you were working for evil, or you know what I'm saying? Or were you, because you can be a really aggressive warrior and work for the light?
I couldn't tell you what side I was working for. I can just, like I said, for that amount of time, from my detail I had, I can tell you everything I saw. But that's just how I always work. I'm very minute in my details, so I can tell you where blood splatter was on me. I can tell you what kind of sword I was using. I can tell you what kind of axe was in my other hand. I can tell you who I hit, what part of body I took. That's
wow.
So that's normal for me. Nikki will let you know that's normal for me. So,
wow, lots of detail. Check you out.
Yeah, that's normal.
Wow.
So Nikki did say that she took your advice and focused on her heart. So that did help her meditate.
Awesome. Wonderful. Good job, Nikki.
And she's telling me that I'm going to get a lot of views on this, because she wants to go back through this again and again.
That's great. Yeah. Okay. So Tom, I was going to say, when you're saying, I'm so guarded, you're repeating that for yourself. And it might be, okay, I'm not going to do this right here when I'm trying to host a podcast. That makes sense. But if it's like this guarding that you want to get past, if you keep repeating it, you're simply making a statement, I am guarded.
Right.
You're making it real every time you say it, rather than, okay, I see that I'm guarded. I'd like to not be guarded.
Right.
like to feel vulnerable. I'm willing to be open. I'm willing to, experience this more, which
And
would be,
that's and I can tell you, I mean, to be brutally honest, I know who I am, and I am not an open person to that point. I am guarded. I am very protected. I am to the stupid stage of being that I've convinced myself that I am invincible. So, I mean, that's, I'm so guarded. I tell people that I'm so guarded that when we went on investigations, I don't need a bubble to protect me because my own armor is impenetrable. But that's because I want that, whatever that is out there, good or bad, to be able to get as close to me as it possibly can without being able to touch me, because I know I am that protected and I'm that guarded.
Mm.
So, and I tell people I have no fear because I'm too dumb to know any better. That's how guarded I am. So,
Well, that could be a good thing. That might be a good thing as long as you are open to good things
right.
to yourself, like closeness and connection with people, which I think you seem to be very, very open and kind. So,
Well, thank you.
yeah. Yeah, you're welcome. You don't seem like one of those cold people, like how you're describing, like I'm really guarded and I'm cold. You're not. But I know from my own experience that the more that I have opened my heart and noticed where I'm guarded, I feel better in my life. I feel more free,
Mm-hmm.
liberated, and therefore more connected with other people as I move through my own journey. So I don't know if any of that applies to you or appeals to you or resonates with you, I should say. But I do think it's nice to know that you are protected and that you know how to protect yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly, you've had to do that in the past, and
Right.
and, and you're holding on to that now. So that's important to know how to do that. Some people don't know how to do that.
Right. Yeah.
So,
Missy's asking, how do I find guided meditation? There's actually a lot of them online, to tell you the truth.
yes, you YouTube anything, you can find one. I actually do have one called Connect with the Light. That's anywhere you want to find a meditation. It's on Spotify and Apple and Amazon and all of those places. So if you want mine, that's that. And I also will be making a library of meditations sometime soonish too. But man, do I have a lot of plans. So I'm not sure which my priorities were going to be. I've got books planned and all kinds of things, but I think the online courses are going to come first. And I've started to do the retreat. So they take some of my time too. And did private sessions. Anyway, so those are some options. I think Astara has guided meditations.
I believe she does too.
Online that you can get to. And she's very good too.
Yeah. And Stuart does mention, and I knew this, he said, like me, your guarded comes from my military background. And that's true. I mean, I tell people, I mean, a lot of people know this, that, for you may not, but a lot of people know this, that I have been shot twice and I've been stabbed numerous times when I was in the military. And when on the other side of it, my invincibility comes from the fact that I'm the one standing and they are no longer standing. The people who shot me are not with us anymore, to say it the best way possible. And my nickname became Superman by my team. And so they said, even bullets can't stop him. He must be Superman. So that actually became my call sign that they used. So I'm very guarded. I'm very protected in that way. So
yeah, I can understand that. That makes a lot of sense.
And Missy does ask, Connect with Light. Is that what you said?
Yeah, it's called Connect with the Light.
Okay.
I don't know if I can. Well, I'm not going to look it up right now because it's going to take a minute. But yeah, you can find it if you go to Spotify or Apple, or I think it's even on YouTube. Anywhere you listen to music, you can find it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think I might close it out for the night.
Okay.
That was a great place to do this. It looks like a lot of people were able to go in. I mean, even me, even though I said I was guarded, I still had a lot of, I can still tell you what that past was like.
That is really cool. You said, I was guarded, I couldn't do it, but here's what I saw.
Right. And that's, like I said, and that's kind of along the same lines with Stuart. I don't know if that was a vision or more of a wish, or more of a, just forcing my mind to see it into being what it was, because I do know about my a little bit about my Norse background.
Well,
like that. So
I'll tell you what, in my experience, anytime someone tells me something and they think it might be something they just wish, like you said, and like Stuart said, it does turn out to be part of their story.
Okay.
Like as we dig deeper, then they come up with more details that seem to fit with what they already know about themselves or how they feel, and there's healing opportunity in there, so I think that it is accurate information, and it's not just our heads. Like I just told you, like with my wooden shoes, it turned out to be what I was wearing in this past life.
Yeah, I'm very interested in the fact that in that brief glimpse I saw that the 5-point star tattooed on my arm, because that is not a known belief in Celtic background. So
right.
So
well, you're going to be on a mission to learn about that, huh?
I guess, yeah. So okay.
Really cool.
Well, Nikki's saying thank you so much. It was a wonderful show.
You are welcome, Nikki. Thanks for being here and suggesting the past life, thing, and asking about the Akashic records.
And I thank you. And I do want to put this up one more time, because I've been doing it tonight for people who want to know more about her, right down here, and want to get in touch with her. Remember, she can do some of this stuff online, through online. You don't have to be here in person. So it's very cool that she can reach out through the internet and be able to work with you as well. So I would advise, if you have questions about this, or are just intrigued or want to know more, and you want to kind of and understand this, kind of your soul healing journey or anything else, to reach out to her. There's 2 locations right here: facebook.com, Annie Graterra Soul Healing, and anniegraterra.com. So go out there, check her out. Make sure you're following her as well. That's always a good thing. And I thank you for being on. I'm hoping that you will just stay with me for a second while I say goodnight for the show, because I'd like to talk to you for a minute. But I appreciate you coming here. Thank you so much. I do have on your friend Christy next week as well. Christy Peterson is on here. So I will say goodnight to you, and I will be right with you.
Okay. Right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. All right, everyone. That's the show. Thank you for being with us as always. I greatly, greatly appreciate it. We will have another show next Monday, 7 p.m. Central. I'm not going to go through the time zones again. That's my entry, not my close. But be sure to come back. I will have on Christy Peterson. Look for her advertisement starting tomorrow. Another fantastic person to come onto the show and just to talk with and learn so much about and learn so much from. I appreciate you all so much for being here. As I always tell you, you are my family, and I love my family very much. Again, if you have any questions for me, you know how to find me right up there. Stuff I Never Learned from a Schoolbook. And just for make sure everyone has all of it, there's all my links. Stuff I Never Learned from the Schoolbook.com on Facebook, Twitch TV, Stuff I Never Learned. If you go down to the YouTube channel right there and actually just look up Stuff I Never Learned from a Schoolbook right up above me, instead of typing all these wonderful numbers, letters, and symbols, you'll find me as well. Have a great night, everybody. Much love. I appreciate you all. And I will see you next week.